Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Breed's Adding Value podcast. My name is Guido, and I'm the Manager of Acquisition and Strategy at New Breed. For those of you who don't know, New Breed is a customer acquisition agency focused on helping B2B companies grow and expand their business. And we do this by following the inbound methodology, which at its core is about adding value before extracting value. So the goal of this podcast is to bring you stories of how people add value to their customers, their company, and the individuals around them. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and check out the rest of our content on newbreedmarketing.com. Today, I'm excited to have Heather Chevalley join the podcast. We're talking today because this month marks 1 year since you joined New Breed, and a lot has changed in that time. You started off as an inbound advisor and have recently moved into a role managing new revenue and partnerships for New Breed. So, Heather, I really appreciate you taking the time to join today, and welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I was starting to feel left out because I hadn't been asked yet.
We have room for everyone to join eventually. So as I mentioned, you joined the team about a year ago, and I'd argue that a lot has changed since then. And when you first joined, I'd also say that you had a bit of a quiet start to New Breed. Not in the sense that you weren't doing a good job or you weren't noticed, but that despite your experience, which you had plenty of experience when you came to New Breed, you didn't come in trying to rock the boat. You kept your head down, you got work done, and you observed for a while before sharing your opinion. So was that like a calculated decision before you decided to join, or what made you decide to do that?
Well, that's a good question. So before I started at New Breed, I had met Patrick and Dana, who are two of the owners of New Breed, through a mutual friend, business acquaintance. And I was able to kind of have a unique intro to New Breed because I didn't go through the traditional interview process with them. We had some dinners, we met up a few times, kind of talked about what the opportunity was. And what I realized was if I took this role that I was stepping into a very tight-knit small business that was really at an inflection point where they were going to start scaling. And I knew if I was going to be a part of that scaling, that I really needed to come in and build trust with the key leadership and employees here at New Breed, and making sure that I was building trust and coming in with a sense of wanting to learn from them and wanting to learn about the business, and not coming in like just because I had experience that I knew everything. Mm-hmm. So it was a calculated decision that I made. I know that personality-wise, I can be a little bit of a lean forward type person. And first impressions, that's not always the best. So I wanted to make sure that people felt that I was approachable and ready to learn from them.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting having gotten to know you over the past year. Like, I wouldn't have guessed that would have been the way that you started things off at New Breed, but I think it really played to your benefit. It really helped you build a lot of trust here, which is pretty cool. But we touched on your experience briefly. Do you want to just talk a little bit more about what experience you had prior to starting at New Breed?
Yeah, sure. So my background for the last 6 or 7 years is in software, which is one of the reasons why I was excited to come into New Breed to really help with not only expand the services part of the business, but expand on the software side and our relationship with HubSpot and potential other relationships with other software partners. My experience is with Cox Automotive. I worked for Dealer.com. If anyone doesn't know what Dealer.com is, they're the largest digital marketing company in the automotive space, owning about 70% of that market. And it was a similar company to this in the fact that we sold software and we built software in that company. We also sold marketing services. So this really played to my strength. I did that for a while, and I moved to another company within the larger organization called DealerTrack, where we sold dealer management systems. And that was an accounting-based software that really was the core to the dealership operation, from the service department, the front end, and the accounting department. So that was where I got my experience. Dealer.com is local to the community, and we had went from when I started there to a 700 person company, went through 2 acquisitions and were valued at $4 billion. And now we were part of a 55,000 person organization. And I just didn't feel like I had the opportunity to make the impact I wanted on the business, and was looking for an opportunity to get involved with a smaller stage growth company.
So that's really interesting. What was that like going from this enterprise level company, like you said, multi-billion-dollar valuation, sounds like, to a company of, I think we're at around 60 employees now. And a little bit less than that a year ago when you started. So was that a big shock when you first got here?
When I started, we were like 42 employees. So we've grown quite a bit. It was definitely different. A lot of the things that you don't think about in a big company or being in an office with 1,200 people are like the everyday things, like that there's enough batteries for your mouses and the pain points that New Breed has, which are good pain points. It's that we're growing so fast that we don't realize all of a sudden, hey, we need to buy more rechargeable batteries for our mouses. Or, hey, we probably need another microwave because we have too many people trying to heat up their food, which are good problems to have. But those weren't the type of problems I was used to dealing with on a daily basis. So I think it was like the little day-to-day stuff that was the biggest change for me. And then the more exciting part that I was really, really re-energized by when I first came in was that I came in every day, even as a new employee, and really felt that everything I did and everything I didn't do affected the company one way or the other. So my engagement, my level of effort, my ability to help solve problems really makes an impact on this business. And to me, that's why I get up every day, is because that's really exciting to me.
I don't know if I've actually talked to you about this before, but I actually started off my career at ADP, which is similar in a lot of ways to Cox in terms of their position in the market that they're in. They're a payroll processing company, and I was just one of hundreds of thousands of people that work there, I believe. I'm not exactly sure what the number is, but I made a conscious decision to move out of that type of company into a smaller company, and seeing that impact that you have and how drastic of a change that is like you said, really energizing.
If you like security and comfort, if you're the type of person who just like wants the comfort of knowing that you have a job and you're going to have a paycheck and you're not really that concerned about the mobility within the organization, working for a company that is like that is really great, because they have really great benefits. They're really well established, and you really usually have very good job security. But I loved the company I was with. They took really good care of their employees. I just wasn't excited to go to work every day.
I totally agree with that. I'm personally glad that I worked at ADP. It was a great launching point and like foundation for my career, but also glad that I made the decision to move. So now that you've been at New Breed for about a year now, what are some of the biggest changes that you've noticed us make in that time? There's been, a lot that's happened both with you personally and your position at New Breed, which is really cool, but there's been other changes that the company has made as well.
It's a lot. I feel like the company's grown up quite a bit in the last 12 months, and that's a good thing, because that's what we want to do. We're a young company, and it's almost like we're a company in its teenage years, and we're trying to become an adult company. And in saying that, it's just like even some of the infrastructure and operations things that I've seen change and established processes around has really been a good thing for the functionality of the business, and some of the ways that we've changed how we deliver our services and package and price our services. We've really seen a huge jump in our revenue growth just from kind of stopping and thinking about how we're presenting and selling our services to our customers, and how our customers look at our services, and how we can create a better experience around flexibility within how and what we're delivering and how we're strategizing. I think that's probably the biggest thing, and I think the numbers around that show that. I think we're almost like 50% growth year over year revenue wise, which is just super exciting. And there's such a appetite for this in the market. Really, when we think about not just the services around marketing automation, inbound marketing, but the opportunity around software integration, software implementation, and migration services. There's just not enough companies that can do it and do it really well. So I think the evolution of some of the stuff that we're offering out there has really been well received.
One of the things that you just mentioned about growing up as a company a little bit is actually reflected just in your hire group. I don't know if you realize this, but like one of the things that New Breed has done over time is grow through bringing on interns. And we had a really strong intern to hire program for a long time at New Breed. And your hire group and that set of people that came in was almost entirely senior hires. It was you, it was Mike Garris, who came from another company in a marketing role, Nick Frigo, who has joined the podcast in the past, Kelly Malloy, who has a lot of experience in the website. And it's a really great group that we brought in. And I think we've done a pretty good job of bringing more people like that with experience outside of New Breed to the company.
Yeah, I think what that hiring group did was really let the leadership team see the value in investing in more senior talent. New Breed's a company who has done a really, really amazing job with finding talent through our awesome local universities and providing internship and apprenticeship opportunities and really turning these young people into what they want them to be from a services standpoint and how to deliver our services the way we want. And it's been a really amazing way for them to grow in the community. But I think as we talk about that New Breed's at this inflection point in its growth, it was time to bring in more senior talent who could help continue to develop this younger group of people we have here who are super smart, super talented. But sometimes you can be the smartest and most talented person in the world, but when you're young, you still need guidance and mentorship.
Absolutely.
So I think that was probably the biggest thing they learned out of that. And since then, we've brought in even more senior talent, and I think it's really changed the business.
Yeah. It's been a really awesome year here at New Breed, and it's cool to think back at all of the things that we've done over that time. But I do want to pause on New Breed as a whole a little bit and talk more about your individual experience at New Breed. So you came onto the sales team. You came with some outside sales experience, and at the time there was a handful of other women on the team. But one of the things I've seen happen, and I had a conversation with Beth on the podcast about this too, but we've really seen that grow quite a bit over the last year, a couple years at New Breed. So can you just talk a little bit about what it's been like seeing that side of our sales team grow as much as it has over the past year?
With women?
Yes.
Okay. I don't really think about stuff like that, to be honest with you.
No?
No, I don't. But it's now when you ask me, I think about it.
I mean, the part of the reason I ask is Beth is now leading the sales team along with you. And we had traditionally been, I mean, this was partially prior to you starting here, but we had been a male-dominated sales team for the 2 years before you came on, I want to say.
Yeah, Beth is awesome. For how young she is just so much wiser than she is in the number of years she's kind of circled around the sun. I think it's awesome. And I think that, from my perspective, women should be running the world because we're more level-headed than men. But I think it's awesome. And right now we have 2 women in leadership on the revenue team, and actually all but one of our subordinates are men. So I'd like to get some more females on the sales team. I think a lot of times women back away from a sales role because it does feel very lean forward. It does feel very aggressive. And I think when a lot of people, especially women, think of sales, they think of a sleazy used car guy. And I think like one of the things that I always try to do, and I think about when women ask me about sales is to try to change that perception. Because really at the end of the day, when we think about sales is, I mean, everyone does it every day. You do it, I do it, my friends do it. My kids do it. We're selling ourselves to other people every day. And it's not really any different than that. As sales is just building relationships and building trust. And then once you build trust, you really become somebody that you can make a recommendation on product and pricing, and they're going to trust that what you're recommending is in their best interest and they're going to buy it. So I think women just tend to shy away from that. But I'm excited about, Beth, and we've got Carly on the team, and she's really amazing. And I'd like to get a few more strong females to join us. So if any of you are out there listening, call me. We're hiring. And just continue to build it out. I think we actually have more female leadership here at New Breed on both sides than we do men. And one of our leadership teams, our CFO, she's a female as well. And it's just exciting. It's exciting to be around strong, confident women. And I hope that I can mentor some young women to turn into sales leaders as well.
Yeah, it's been a really incredible experience for me to watch that evolve over time. When I first started at New Breed, there were, I think, 3 or 4 women out of the 20 or so employees that were here. And now that's completely flipped. We're much closer to a 50-50 split. I haven't counted recently, but I'd be surprised if we weren't very close to 50-50 split. And a lot of those women are in leadership roles now, which is really cool to see. One of the things that you mentioned, though, during that response was one of the core assets that anyone should have is to be able to sell. And one of the best ways to do that is through building connections and relationships and trust. And that's something that you do incredibly well, I think. Is that something that you've practiced over time, or is that something that's come more naturally to you?
It's definitely something that I'm a big personal development person. Like I'm always reading to learn. I'm always listening to podcasts. But I do think a big part of it is that it's just my natural personality is to be social and outgoing and fun. And, you know, my grandma always calls me the peacock because whenever there's a crowd, my feathers puff up. And I think there's a part of me that, you know, I hate to admit it, but I think there's a part of me that likes to be the center of attention. But I like being social. I always say, like, it's 7:30, 8 o'clock every night at home. I start to get antsy because I'm just bored because I'm not having as much interaction as I like to. But yeah, it's just been a part of who I am, and but also something that I've worked on quite a bit, especially when it comes to like emotional intelligence. I'm from Long Island, New York, where I'm Italian. So there's definitely a fiery, aggressive part of my personality that I think as part of my professional development, also in my personal life, I really work to kind of tone down. And I think a good example of that is when I first came in and I really did sit back and kind of did a lot of observing, whereas 5 years ago, I would have come in and been like a bull in a china shop. So that's something that I really had to work on. And I feel like that's helped me build more connections because I'm not as leaning forward and in your face as maybe my natural tendency is to be.
And I think that's something that pretty much anyone can develop if it's not something that they gravitate towards naturally. I've seen plenty of people do it. I'm not an extroverted person, but I feel like I can jump on a call and talk to someone and have a sales conversation with them still. So it's interesting to always be able to see people that can develop that skill over time. And even Beth is a decent example of that. When she first started, she was terrified to jump on the phone. Not to say that she's not extroverted, but it's something that anyone can develop. And now she does her job really well.
Yeah. I feel like you're a really good listener.
I try to do that.
Yeah. And that's something I feel like I need to work on. I'm still working on that, is being a good listener. I always want to give you an answer or give you a solution to your problem right away instead of really sitting back and hearing everything first.
Yeah, it's something that I've noticed is one of your strengths, though, the way that you leverage your approach, where you're able to get to the point quickly and give people the information that they should need to make a decision as quickly as possible. You basically make it easy for someone to purchase from you by doing that, which is nice.
I try. I have a really fast sales cycle, so I guess that's true.
Yeah. So the next thing I wanted to get into is the fact that you started off in sales at New Breed, and now you're starting to transition into a new role. I'm sure that some of your experience with relationship building has helped with that, but can you talk a little bit about the new role that you're starting to move into?
Yeah, so I did start as an individual contributor, and for anyone who's not in the sales world, it just means I was a salesperson that had an individual revenue goal. And I started in that role really only for the main reason is that I needed to learn about the company. I couldn't come in and lead a team of people without really understanding what we did, how we did it, what the sales process was like. So I think I was here for 6 months. The first 6 months I was like just a regular salesperson and just really trying to understand how the business functioned, how we serve our clients, how we sell our clients. And then the next step was to move into a sales leadership role, which I did in July, and really start to take some ownership of our relationship with HubSpot. Now, Patrick, our CEO, is the current holder of that relationship. But as our business grows, he doesn't have time to give that relationship the attention it quite frankly needs. We are one of HubSpot's top global partners, and with that, we need to have a presence there. So I've started little by little starting to take more and more ownership of that relationship. So moving into 2020, I'll be looking to really move more full-time into a position where I'm nurturing that relationship and I'm owning that partnership, and along with partnerships with our VC partners. So VC, private equity, really entities that are investing in growth stage SaaS and tech companies that we can really help them with their growth from a sales and marketing perspective.
So with this new role and all the things that New Breed has done over the past year or so, what are you most excited about heading into 2020?
Oh gosh. I'm excited about a lot of things. I don't know if all the things I can talk about on the podcast yet. So there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes here that I'm really excited about. But the things that I can talk about that I'm excited about is really moving into this role where I think that I'm going to have the opportunity to sell New Breed on a whole nother level. HubSpot's one of the fastest growing companies in the world. And let's face it, we had a lot of name recognition there when they were a 200-person company. But now that they have 700 salespeople globally, they don't know who New Breed is. And we really need that sales force to understand who New Breed is and what they offer, and give them the ability to funnel business to us. That's our biggest opportunity for revenue growth next year, in my opinion. And I think I can have a really meaningful impact on that. So that's really exciting to me. And then also really investing time in building relationships with venture capitalists and building relationships with private equity firms. That also can be a huge revenue driver for New Breed. Thinking about on that side of the business, where if we can come in and really give a VC or a private equity firm almost an insurance policy on their investments, where we can come in with the technology that we can stand up and implement for their portfolio and execute a proven solution from marketing and sales perspective that we know will contribute to growth. And for them, we can provide reporting on a level that they've never had in a consistent basis across their entire portfolio, and give them really a pulse on the business, on the businesses that they've never had before.
That's one of the biggest and brightest opportunities that I've seen for a while at New Breed. And I'm really excited to have someone here that's going to be managing that aspect of our relationships with VC firms. And the other thing I wanted to mention was I was about to ask you what your sales pitch would be for New Breed, since you're not in a sales run anymore, but I think you just did an excellent job of it. So I'll skip that. Instead, the last question I wanted to ask was, what's your favorite part about what you do at New Breed?
Gosh, my favorite part about what I do at New Breed is I left a really good job to come here. And I only say that because what I'm really excited about is taking this company from 50 employees to 500 employees. And I 100% believe that that is going to happen. It's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years. And then after that, we'll see what, I think the sky's the limit, but I think we're really well positioned for growth. I think we have a lot of the right people, and I think we've got to add a few more key players to the team here, but I think the foundation's laid. And really, I've said this before, is that I think we'd actually have to try to screw this up. I think we'd really have to try to mess it up. We've done a really, I can't take credit for it, but Taylor and Patrick and Dana have just done a really great job of, number one, putting the company in a financial place where we can grow organically and we're positioned to take this next leap. And to them really being open to taking risks, hire senior talent, spending money there. We're going to be moving into a really great space next year at Hula Lakeside, which is a huge investment for the company, but it's going to really put us on the map from a hiring perspective in Burlington, and also attract talent from outside. So I'm really excited to be on this ride, and I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I am too. I think there's a lot of exciting things I've seen happen over the past couple of years. There's been progress made every year, and I'm more excited for 2020 than I've been for any year prior to that. So I can't wait to get started. Well, I really enjoyed this, Heather. Thank you so much for joining today. We've got more great episodes on the way, so make sure you subscribe to the podcast so that you can get notified when our next episode comes out. In the meantime, check out newbreedmarketing.com for our other great resources. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.